Oh, good morning. Sorry, I was up all night looking at the moon. Why was I looking at the moon? Oh, I'm doing this moon observation to figure out which way, if you're looking down from the North Pole, which way the moon revolves around the Earth, clockwise or counterclockwise. What? You don't know which way it goes? Well, here, let me explain it to you. Now, you may or may not have noticed, but the moon rises from east to west, like the sun does. Now, this would make somebody believe that the moon goes clockwise around the Earth, because it goes from the east to the west and all the way around. But, here's where it gets a little tricky. Now, most of you should know that the Earth revolves around the sun, not the other way around. So, the sun, although it looks like it's rising in the east and setting in the west, it actually isn't moving. We're the ones that are moving. Now, we around our own axis move counterclockwise. That means that we are progressively turning from the west to the east. But because the sun is stationary, it looks like it's going from the east to the west. Still kind of confused? Okay, try this at home. Go ahead and take a brush or a ball or any sort of other utensil that you want, or even just your hand. Keep it out in front of you like this. Now, you're going to be turning from the west, which is your right shoulder, to the east, which is your left shoulder, because that's the way that the Earth turns, counterclockwise. Now, you're going to be turning from your right shoulder. Turn your head to your left shoulder, but don't quite look at the brush, but kind of let your eyes glaze across it, so you're kind of doing this. Now, even though your head was moving and the brush was not, which way did it look like it was going? It looked like it was going from your left to the right, which in fact would be from the east to the west. That's how it is with the sun. Now, the moon moves around us. We know that. We know that 27 days roughly, it will go around the Earth once, which is where our lunar calendar comes from, which is what a lot of people used before we had our spiffy new calendars. Still the question, how do we know that the moon actually moves counterclockwise around us? Okay, so here's a little diagram to describe what I observed over my several days of observing the moon. The first day I noticed it, it was down low on the horizon in the northwest. Now imagine that this is a 3D dome, so it's a little weird to look at, but bear with me. It started off in the northwest, and then every night it moved progressively more south. See how it's waxing, and then towards the southeast and to the east. Now, if you're looking at the compass like a clock, that means that the moon, over a period of time, moves counterclockwise around the Earth. You also might have wondered throughout your watching this video on why is it that the moon can sometimes be seen during the day and sometimes be seen during the night. Well, I have this really nifty little diagram to help show you this. Alright, let's pretend for a moment that you're the center of the universe. Now this may or may not be easy for you, but follow me. The Earth, us, we move counterclockwise as seen by the clock. Now I'm using the clock face as a show of space, not necessarily a show of time. So bear with me. This is not time during the day. I'm just trying to show it to you so it's a little bit easier for you guys to understand. So you're out one night. This is the dusk line. This is the dawn line. So you go out one night. You're chilling out. You go outside. You find out, oh my goodness, the moon is rising. How cool does the moon look? So you're looking at it from here, in the middle of the night. And so then the next day we rotate. Now this moon rotates around us counterclockwise, about 27 times slower than we move around ourselves. So we're spinning and spinning around ourselves quickly, whereas in the moon is going slowly, relatively, to us. So the next day, the moon does not look like it's at the 6 o'clock. The moon now rises a little bit later. Again, clock is just the clock face, not the amount of time. So then the next day we spin around, and you get later and later until we find ourselves falling into the next day. Now, as you can see, we now went from the moon being at night to all of a sudden the moon being during the day, because the moon's going to continue going around us on this trajectory counterclockwise And we're going to continue spinning. As long as you're staying in one spot, one place, throughout these nights, you're going to see it progressively rise later and later and later until it starts to rise during the daytime. So, if in the future you decide to go on a moonlight stroll or a picnic amongst the stars and you want to have a nice bright moon to illuminate your path, then you make sure that you know when the moon rises and when the moon sets, because it is not always consistent and it's not always out during the day. So guys, thanks for watching. I hope you guys learned a little bit of something, and I hope you have a very lunarific day. See ya.